Good evening, everybody. Was just checking if I'm muted. I'm not. Good evening. Happy Tuesday. Thank you so much for waiting for me. A bit delayed, but sometimes some meetings intervene and certainly have to answer. So, thank you so much for being patient with me and for tuning in for some actual news. And today we're going to touch pretty much on anything and everything. So, we're going to talk about President Biden. He issued a couple of statements today. We're going to also talk about VP Harris and Governor Walz, their campaign. Where are they hit it next? We're also going to talk about the game plan for this week and next week. Also Middle East, also Ukraine, also Russia, also Project 2025, and everything that comes with it. Okay, so but first and foremost, thank you so much for joining. Please ask questions, share your feedback, add your voice to this conversation. I never guesstimate that this is sort of me talking to you or, God forbid, at you. It's really us discussing it together. So share your questions also. If there's anything that I say that contradicts that, please share your sources and I gladly say corrected. And by the way, thank you for tagging me in some news stories today, as well as yesterday and days before. I truly appreciate it. Today I added 2 stories because you tagged me. So anytime, please tag and I will investigate and report. So we're going to have also some fun stuff, some not so fun stuff. That's the Project 2025 and all that kind of stuff. But first thing that I want to talk about is that perhaps we missed that. But on Monday, yesterday, a federal judge in Texas issued a temporary injunction preventing the Biden administration from extending legal status to unauthorized immigrants married to American citizens. So, if you may recall, back in May, President Biden and VP Harris, the administration, announced a new rule which would benefit a lot of people who otherwise have absolutely no chance to become legal, right? To be here legally. Those are the kids of the dreamers and those who perhaps came here illegally but years ago. And so this rule is only applicable to those who have lived here for 10 years at least, who pay tax, who are married to US citizens. Because there's so many who are married to US citizens who have kids that are by birth US citizens and absolutely have no chance to legalize themselves and be here legally because when they crossed the border, they didn't have this infamous form I-94. If you're an immigrant, you know what I'm talking about. That states that you were entered legally. Or perhaps there are children, of those dreamers that could benefit from rulings, but they couldn't. So President Biden introduced an executive order granting permission to those individuals who have lived here for 10 years at least to apply and become legal, right? To legalize their stay. And so what happened yesterday, a judge in Texas canceled it out, at least temporarily. So the ruling came in response to a challenge from 16 Republican-led states. District Court Judge Campbell Barker's decision holds a recently launched immigration program that aimed to benefit up to 500,000 immigrants living in the U.S. without legal status. Now, of course, President Biden, this is very personal to him, and he issued a statement. And I want to read out a full statement to you because it talks about not just the policy and why it does matter, but certainly it talks about our entire idea of United States of America and specifically immigration, right? So he says, quote, America is not a country that tears families apart. That is why in June, my administration announced new action to keep American families together. These married couples, in which one spouse is a United States citizen and the other has been living in America for 10 years or more, include our neighbors who have been working, raising their families, paying tax, worshiping with us, and sending their kids to school. They have become our friends, our neighbors, and our co-workers. They are the parents to our kids' best friends. They have become invaluable contributors to our communities. They make us a better country. Nothing I did changed the requirements people have to meet to adjust their status under immigration law. All I did was make it possible for these longtime residents to file the paperwork here together with their families. But without the keeping families together process, spouses of US citizens won't be able to stay in the United States while they obtain the long-term legal status for which they're already eligible. Um, they'll be forced to either leave their families in America or live in the shadows and constant fear of deportation. Last night, a single district court in Texas ruled that our work to keep families together has to stop. That ruling is wrong. These families should not be needlessly separated. They should be able to stay together, and my administration will not stop fighting for them. I'm not interested in playing politics with the border or immigration. I'm interested in solving problems, nor am I interested in tearing families apart. That is not who we are as Americans. I will continue to fight to secure our border and fix our broken immigration system. And specifically, especially that last paragraph, right? That's not who we are. That is not what America stands for. Prohibiting people to become legal who have been living here for 10 years. I was in the East Room at the White House when President Biden announced it. There is a video. I will post it because I went on social media and I shared my take. I'll post it right underneath this live stream, where I said, alongside with that ruling, he also introduced something else where he allowed those students who have graduated in the United States and have job offers to accept the job offer and change their stay, like the student visa to a work visa. Which, by the way, before that, the rule was that if you graduated in the United States, you have to leave for 2 years minimum. And so if you had job offers, you could not possibly accept them. So he does change that because people graduated in the United States, they're ready to work. And if they have a work proposal, why can't they accept? And so for me, that was personal because I was one of those students, right? So that is what I really appreciate, that the policies that the Biden administration has introduced, and specifically he has introduced, are personal. So, and I remember in the East Room who introduced Joe Biden when he talked about those executive orders and announced them. There was a nurse. All right. This guy, he lives over 10 years here. He's married to U.S. citizen. His kids are U.S. citizens. He has been working at the hospital, saving lives nonstop during COVID-19, and he is illegal. And so he introduced Joe Biden and said, this is the day where I feel seen, where I feel as a human. Because he came here when he was 3. He only speaks English. He doesn't speak any other language. He only knows America as his home. So hearing such disgusting stuff, it's very, very unfortunate. So I wanted to begin with that because that's really, really important. Brendan says Trump with families in cages. Yeah, and he will plan to do more. We can count on it. There is no illusion and delusion. Any illusion with Trump is delusion. So now let's talk about the campaign. Of course, the biggest news about Harris and Walz's campaign, the biggest news was that, at least tonight, that they will have their first interview on CNN, which will be on this Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern. We will be organizing a watch party. And by the way, they are interviewed by Dana Bash, and they will be interviewed in Georgia, because that's where VP and Governor Walz are headed tomorrow. They are on a bus tour in Georgia, and then on Thursday they have a rally in Savannah. And so that's where Dana Bash will interview them. We're going to have a watch party. So if you unsubscribe from, cable news or mainstream media, or you don't want your view to count as their statistics, please join us. I will stream it privately, and I will post a link tonight how to RSVP. RSVP will be very simple. Just put your email and you get a link. So we will watch it together. We had so much fun watching the DNC all 4 nights together, discussing, commenting on things, chatting with like-minded people who are real people. So I also posted a voting thing, like how you call that, on Twitter, where you can, like a graph, who's in, who wants to watch, who doesn't. So you can vote there, but I see majority is interested, so I'm going to host it again Thursday 9 p.m. This will be online. Is the interview pre-recorded? I think it will be pre-recorded the same night. I don't think it will be live at 9 p.m. Otherwise, they would have said it because that would have mattered. But it is recorded the same day. So, out of all journalists available, why did they pick Dana Bash? She was despicable during the Biden Donald Trump debate. We wanted you to do the interview, and we're still talking about it. And thank you so much. I appreciate you, and I hope we will. Right? Whether it is the first one or not, it doesn't matter. Don't ask me why. If you ask me about CNN, it's a clickbait channel that has Donald Trump on speed dial. One of their main anchors called Trump first when she saw that Biden is stepping down. I mean, it tells you the entire story. The management is MAGA. People who pretend to be liberal or democratic or have been seen as liberal and democratic before have absolutely nothing to do with democracy. They're constantly flipping things, doing 180 angles on things. So don't ask me why. Maybe the strategy is to go Collins. Yeah, Lisa, yeah, you're right. Collins has the Trump on speed dial, but this is Dana Bash. Dana Bash is, and by the way, in terms of that debate, right? They introduced new rules. Biden was, in my opinion, not prepared for those type of rules, and the rules benefited Trump. Short answers, muted mics, and then Dana Bash and Jake Tapper didn't fact check anybody. Not during the debate, not after the debate. They said it's not their job. But I will promise you that the first question will listen. Let's have a bet. I'm for it. That the first question will go. Recently, Donald Trump stated that. That will be the first question. So, and then they will fully fact check her. Fully. 9 p.m. is that interview. Probably 9:30 is over, and we'll stick for that. That right away they're going to go into fact check. Why are they doing that? Maybe, you got to go to the worst first or whatever. Why forget me, but why it's not PBS? Why is it not MSNBC? Why is it not Lawrence? Why is it not even Jen Psaki, for God's sake? Why? I don't know. I don't know. And I don't want to criticize them, but I just don't know. That sounds about right for the first question. Yeah, indeed. Lisa says, Donald started the ABC debate. Is going to be the same. Yeah, we're going to talk about it. Yeah. Judith Woodward. Yeah. We should do a poll on how many times Trump's name will be mentioned over or under 5. Yeah, let's have fun. I mean, we're going to watch it together. If you join the party, put out the suggestions. We're going to have a game or whatever. Certainly we have that for the first debate planned. So I don't know. I don't have a good explanation. So, moving on. Another is that on Monday, September 2nd, the vice president will travel to Detroit, Michigan for a campaign event, and it will be her 6th trip to Michigan this year. And then afterwards, she is at a rally with President Biden. So Labor weekend, Monday. Then Vice President joined President Biden in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania for a campaign event. It will be the Vice President's 9th trip to Pennsylvania this year. Additional details will follow. In full transparency, we know that the second gentleman has been in New York today. Yesterday he had 2 events. Today he had an event. I contacted them to cover it, and they said there's no press. So what I know, he was meeting with Wall Street investors. This was money-related fundraisers. So certainly I do understand why there's no press, not because he doesn't want to, because the Wall Street investors need to maintain their privacy in terms of whom they're supporting and who's there, because once it leaks, they can face consequences from MAGA, from the Republican Party. So I do understand that notion. No grudges here. I just wish we had more events that can be covered. That's all I'm looking for. That's Monday, fantastic. Tomorrow they're in Georgia, fantastic. More. We can't have one event a week. We have 10 weeks left. So I wish to see more, and hopefully we will. Okay. Um, so the campaign also continued, shared that they're continuing its strong path. Strong paid outreach program. On Friday, last Friday, Harris Wall's campaign released a new ad on television, airing across media markets in battleground states, reinforcing the vice president's economic vision and belief in building up the middle class. This ad will run as a part of the $150 million television buy for August, and then starting immediately after Labor Day, which is next week, we already have $370 million in television and digital reservations throughout Election Day. This fall buy includes the largest digital reservation in the history of American politics, reflecting the campaign's commitment to meet voters wherever they are. And certainly what they're doing here, so we're clear, they're buying out spots that MAGA and Trump can buy. So they want the ad to be everywhere. And if I watch MSNBC, every time they go off air, there's always Kamala Harris ad. Certainly, I wish to see those ads during that CNN interview. Are they going to be there? Is CNN going to run those ads? You know what bothers me here the most? And this is related to the debate. I can finally, in my mind, clicked. That before that damn debate, that was early, before Trump was even the nominee, that debate gave oxygen to Trump. He wasn't doing well. He wasn't covered enough. There was a low energy shit show. That debate gave him oxygen, resuffocated him. And so this interview here is what gives oxygen to the CNN that has bad ratings, the worst ratings in the past, 30 years, 40, 50, whatever they shared, whatever statistics are. People are unsubscribing in masses. Most Democrats have not watched CNN since that infamous debate. And so this interview will make people tune in CNN. And then will make people watch that stupid fact check that for sure will follow. That is what I think is undeserving. And certainly not Dana Bash, that is one of those at the debate, who played a major role in that, negative everything with Joe Biden. Did you send the link for Thursday? No, not yet. I'll do RSVP first. Is that unusual not to have press? No, not for fundraisers. Fundraisers are usually without press. We need more rallies. Indeed, I agree. Yes, I agree. Okay, I did that already. Okay, so other thing is the debate. Lisa just mentioned that a few minutes ago. It was announced with Trump's tweet. Here we go. I have reached an agreement with the radical left Democrats for a debate with Comrade Kamala Harris. Jesus. It will be broadcast live on ABC Fake News, by far the nastiest and most unfair newscaster in the business, on Tuesday, September 10th in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The rules will be the same as the last CNN debate, which seemed to work out well for everyone except perhaps crooked Joe Biden. So we don't need to read any further. So it is confirmed. It's September 10th in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, on ABC. Done. And the rules are same. That means Harris had to agree to mute the mics, right? Because yesterday I announced it was the big debacle about her campaign wanting to keep the mics hot throughout the time to show what Trump can deliver in terms of turmoil and shit show. So now it will be muted because that's what the case was during the debate with Biden. So that's what it is. And so, reacting to that, you can count on Trump's side piece, J.D. Vance, who is currently, up until today, it's his side piece. There are several people auditioning, I see. RFK Jr., the Russian, Russian-sponsored Tulsi. Yeah, they're auditioning. Some rumors even say, well, they want to see on the ticket RFK Jr. with Tulsi and kind of dump Trump and use this recent legal action against him for that. That's a rumor. So, there are many rumors. We should not be believing everything. But since this debate was sort of confirmed by Trump, J.D. Vance tried to make a joke. Take a look.
Now, while we're on the subject of their convention, she said something else at her convention. She said, and I don't know if you paid attention here, she said there are going to be extremely serious consequences for voting for Donald Trump. Now, Kamala, I've got two responses to that. First of all, that is not a very presidential thing to say. Is she the vice president or the vice principal? Warning about very serious consequences, whining at people for telling a joke instead of trying to persuade them that she deserves to be their president. I'm sick of people like that. But second, it's the substance, because the extremely serious consequences, Kamala, have come from your leadership as vice president of the United States. Americans can't afford groceries because of your leadership, Kamala. Young people can't afford homes.
Kudos for, first of all, pronouncing Kamala right. But J.D. Vance has to Google, because he's running for vice president. And he's certainly very much mistaken what type of leadership is for vice president. If you read the Constitution, that leadership is not even described. So, JD, Google is your best friend. Do it on the couch, next to it, after, before, whatever, Google. Because whatever you're saying, and if you guesstimate you will have those powers, no. Your Trump impression is funny. You lower your voice. Thank you. That's my only fun when I read those tweets. I'm glad Kamala didn't get COVID. Yeah, a lot of people at the DNC, post-DNC, got COVID. Yeah. Trump is still trying to stay their September 4th debate. In his mind. No fact-checking. No fact-checking, probably. Watch party September 10th. Yes, of course. We're going to do September 10th party. Watch party. And also VPs, Waltz and Vance, or whoever will be at that point. We'll have those two. They'll fact-check Kamala or whatever they'll call it. Yeah. Yep. Side piece. It is a side piece. He keeps acting like September 4th. Yeah. Okay. A lot of comments. Those people in the background look so bored. Yeah. One was actually yawning. You're salty tonight. I am really not happy about that CNN thing. And it's not personal, or it's not me, take me out of the picture, I just don't think why this network and why is this host, PBS, MSNBC, like Lawrence, like why? That is what makes me a little salty today, I must admit. I heard almost I said fuck. Yeah. I think today is the day. We'll handle it this way. Okay, whatever helps. Now, I want to show you, to glance a little bit, a wholesome video from Tim Walz. So, probably you saw it, perhaps you didn't. If you saw it, it's certainly cool rewatching it. It's about him talking to, I don't know who that is, tell me who that is. And he talked about home ownership, and most importantly, the gutters. Take a look.
So what's your take?
My take is the most neglected part of home ownership is the gutters. It's personal for me.
100% agree.
I've had problems with gutters before. You get your basement wet, you get ice dams, cause a lot of problems.
It's not good.
No, it is not, but there are fixes. Now, the other dangerous thing is that when you live in Minnesota, fall's a great time of year, a lot of leaves. You got to get up on a ladder.
And they get stuck in the gutter. The leaves get stuck in the gutter. I've seen many a man fall off the ladder.
Many a man, seriously.
Many a man fall off the ladder.
But there's a fix. You can put a gutter helmet over the top of it.
A gutter helmet?
It covers it. It lets the water go through, keeps it out of your house. I see this all the time.
How often do you like looking at gutters?
I look quite often, surprisingly, because
Like
I kind
you're
of judge it.
inspecting.
I try not to be judgmental on people, but when I see a well-tended gutter, it says a lot about somebody. So
What's better, a well-tended lawn or a well-tended gutter?
I'd go with the gutters.
100%. There's no doubt in your mind.
No, I think gutters are a big thing, that they really matters.
Where do you buy gutters?
The downspouts I bought at Menards.
Save big money at
Menards. Menards. He's exactly right.
That's not how. That's not
No,
the same.
I know
That's
you're right. I'm not good
You
at
gonna
that.
leave me hanging like that?
No, you're right. You're right. Okay, you ready?
On three.
Save big money at Menards. And keep your receipts, 11% rebates, but you got to send them in. It's a little bit of a challenge, but keep your receipts. You send it in. About 6 weeks later, you'll get your 11% back.
These are great takes. And you believe that cheese belongs on the inside of the burger.
I know this is very controversial for folks, but
It's not controversial. I
Not for
think
where you
everyone
come from.
agrees.
You've been on Juicy Lucy.
Doesn't everyone agree?
I don't
I
think
have a
they
song
do.
called Juicy Lucy, by the way. You can play it at your rally.
You do?
Yeah. I'll send it to you right after that.
Why did I not know that?
It's a deep cut.
It's
Just like the burger itself. They're delicious.
I do believe it should be inside.
It's like a hot chocolate molten lava cake, except beef and cheese.
He knows his Minnesota.
Yeah.
He knows his Minnesota well.
That's what I mean. Why this old mainstream thing? This is fun. Give voice to those who really want to interview you, who are eager to know you better, eager to ask you questions, who are there not just to showcase how they look like and all of this, and I'm, privileged, but who care. Yeah, because that's different energy. Tell me it's not true. Please tell me it's not true. This is fun. When we watch this fun, we feel like we're being entertained and educated and all that kind of stuff. You can use PVC pipe. Okay, that you guys are talking about the cheese belongs on the inside. I've never seen. I'm European, so for me, cheese outside. What? Okay, interesting. And related to levels, who care? Okay. All right. Moving on. So I think this type of interviews, there's influencers. There is this guy who's 12 years old. He went to the DNC. This boy who was shouted at from this pillow guy. I am about to curse anyway. Give him an interview. He's 12. He's fantastic. There's so many people who are eager to know you better, to let others find out more. I would love to do it, but there's so many people. Give anybody a chance. Step away from this mainstream media, because there's so many YouTubers who have way more views than CNN on their best day. If we talk about views, if that is what drives here the story, just makes absolutely no sense. Okay. So also what I want to talk about today, it was sort of, I saw on Twitter many posts about this juicy thing that Trump's former national security advisor will not work for him, and da-da-da-da-da. And I saw a bunch of you asking for the quote. And this is a very important approach here, because I'm going to read out what he's talking. This guy wrote a book. The talk is about the Lieutenant General McMaster. He's reflecting on his time in the Trump's White House. And it's not that juicy. He's not denouncing Trump. He's not saying that whatever Trump did is BS and he doesn't want to be a part of it. I'm going to read the exact quote. So when this type of stuff is for clickbait, ask for quotes, ask for sources before we start putting somebody on the map. And for this guy who literally sells a book, driving sales to him, that is, it's all kinds of wrong with that. So in his memoir, At War with Ourselves, My Tour of Duty in the Trump White House, McMaster discusses his time as the national security advisor under President Trump. McMaster reveals his confusion over Vladimir Putin's influence on Trump, stating, "I could not understand Putin's hold on President Trump." PP tapes, McMaster, PP tapes, Google it. Despite efforts to steer the president away from mistakes, McMaster notes that he was not among those who believed their role was a shield to shield the nation from Trump's erratic decisions. McMaster, a scholar and veteran, accepted the NSC role to address what he saw as necessary disruptions in U.S. foreign policy and national security. Reflecting on his time in the administration, he remarked, quote, "I saw it as an opportunity to help a disruptive president disrupt a lot of what needed to be disrupted," end quote. As he prepares for the book release, McMaster also indicated he would not serve in the future Trump administration. Quote, I think my opportunity to serve in the Trump administration is used up, end quote. He said in an NPR interview. So for me, it sounds he was not invited to this administration, and he certainly would love to. So if we take that tiny little quote that went viral on a bunch of accounts, he is not serving, he is not, and then people will see that he's a legitimate guy, buy his book, and in that book, it's going to be mega, 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 and probably a copy of Project 2025. So keep your head on a swivel. Really, really important. Okay, you're asking about my accent? Turkish? Yeah, not Turkish. Keep guessing. So if he were asked, he'd go. Indeed, that is my whole point. Yes. Factual reporting and 3 sources as information. Thank you. Thank you. My pastor actually said he would hope Trump would read his book and learn how to deal with. Yeah, yeah, it's all about the book sales, and he's trying to be relevant, and he certainly is no longer relevant, at least for the past 4 years. So, another thing, so which is kind of good news, right? Remember, Donald Trump has a bunch of cases, and then he, as much as President Biden now, got this immunity. Certainly, President Biden is not going to use it, right? And he tries to repeal it and also reform Supreme Court. But the cases were dismissed against Trump. And so today, Jack Smith, the hero of the day, filed a superseding indictment against the former and twice impeached President Donald Trump. Here's a copy. He charged him with resisting the peaceful transfer of power after the 2020 presidential election. The new charging document is based on a more refined set of allegedly criminal acts after the Supreme Court ruled Trump was immune from prosecution for some of the conduct included in Smith's original 2023 indictment. And so here you see, he has count 1, conspiracy to defraud the United States. Count 2, conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding. Count 3, obstruction of an attempt to obstruct an official proceeding. And then 4, conspiracy against rights. So if you go through this, he has receipts. He has the dates. He has the timestamps. He has all the tweets. He has all the appearances. He has all the phone calls. Remember that? I need 11,000, whatever. All of that is listed. And so what they need to do now, because immunity says he's immune if that was in the official way, right? It was the official act to benefit the United States. So now, in order to get out of this mess, Trump's team has to prove that it was done officially and to benefit the United States. So very clever. Let's, again, follow up with that. But certainly that's a really cool thing that it happened today. Jack Smith is my hero. Yeah, somebody said he's like the sexiest man alive today. Jack Smith need a cape. Yep. Smart on Smith. Was wondering early on why he was postponing once it was sent back. Yeah, I agree. So an interview on Morning Joe. MAGA, no pushback from interviewer, said Trump good disruptor, that we need disruptors. Yeah, that is not the good trouble. That's not that kind of disruptor. Garland is worthless, but Smith is not. And certainly, we kept talking and people were talking about him and, sort of folding and all that kind of stuff, but he didn't. And he used the time efficiently. And now we have the result right in time, before the debates, before the interviews, before all of that. Now, Trump, how do you think he reacted? Here you go. No presidential candidate or candidate for any office has ever had to put up with all of this lawfare and weaponization directly out of the office of a political opponent. They're weaponized local DAs and attorney generals and anybody else that will listen to interfere with the upcoming 2024 presidential election. Never been done before. This is now Kamala's weaponized system against her political opponent. All of these scams will fail, just as deranged Jack's hoax in Florida has been fully dismissed. Make America great again. He continues. This travesty is now uncovered. Kamala Harris who's actively pushing it rather than immediately calling for its dismissal, as should be done. What? Kamala Harris will call for your dismissal. What? She's a prosecutor. Did you hit your head? Did you take something or forgot to take something? Something is missing. And whatever you say here is crazy. Oh, but he continues. More. For them to do this immediately after our Supreme Court victory on immunity and more is shocking. So he considered that thing his personal win. The immunity is his personal win. Forget the Constitution. F that. Personal win. I've also been informed by my attorneys. How many? I can count one. The woman. What's her? Baga, Haga, whatever. That you're not even allowed to bring cases literally right before an election. A direct assault on democracy. Okay, so cite sources. Aside from your lawyer, this is this is an unprecedented abuse of the criminal justice system. The case has to do with conspiracy to obstruct the 2020 presidential election. Weren't you doing that? Weren't you doing that? Why is Pence not your running mate? Why was that position open? Why? If you weren't doing all of it. In an effort to resurrect the dead witch hunt in Washington, D.C., in an act of desperation and in order to save face, the illegally appointed special counsel, deranged Jack Smith, has brought a ridiculous new indictment against me, which has all the problems of the old indictment and should be dismissed immediately. He's not done. He continued 4 more, but I'll spare. Boy, take the ketchup away. That's all. Now, let's talk about the second gentleman. I told you that he was in New York yesterday, today. So he's traveling to Idaho and California and Colorado in fundraising Swing Out West. So on Thursday this week, August 29th, he's going to be delivering remarks at campaign reception. I think it's, again, very close press. At Ketchum, Idaho. Then August 30th, he's in San Francisco, California. And later the same day, he's going to be in Aspen, Colorado. Think about Aspen, Colorado. Like yesterday was the Southampton. Today was New York City with Wall Street. Aspen, San Francisco. So I think this is very high-income individuals, as they call them. So I don't expect much coverage, but I certainly, whatever I can get, I'll get you, and I'll post about it and share it. Alina Habba, yes, Alina Habba, thank you. That's Trump's lawyer. Of course, he took the Supreme Court ruling as a personal win. He installed the corrupt judges, bought and paid. Yeah, I agree. Remember when Trump asked why Kamala didn't fix the border because he thought she had control? Yeah, we only have one president at a time, and VP Pence only served to be sacrificed. Yeah, indeed. Almost literally got sacrificed. That's a good strategy. Sent Doug out to build the war chest while Kamala and Tim built the ground game. Yeah, indeed. And that's what I kind of read as a strategy. I only hope to see more rallies, which I'm sure we will. Let's talk about yesterday. I shared that Trump went to Arlington. He went to Arlington Cemetery to honor, and you understand why I do this, to honor 13 soldiers that died in Afghanistan during the suicidal bomb attack. In Kabul. So at the airport, when the forces were withdrawing, there was an attack and 13 soldiers died, as well as Afghan civilians and personnel. So President Biden issued a statement. I covered it. If you missed it, please open your emails. By the way, if you're not subscribed, go ahead, subscribe. It's free on honestsubstack.com. I covered it in detail. So what I also covered and showed you yesterday is that Trump was posing with a bunch of families, not just one, but many families, with next to the graves of their loved ones with the thumbs up. Also, one particular family that I featured yesterday in that email had some white supremacy signs, I've been told. Tell me if I'm wrong or right. I don't know those signs. I'm European. So, but whatever they were doing, certainly a bunch of people commented this white supremacy sign. But he was posing with his thumbs up. Also, another story came out today. What has been happening behind the scenes at Arlington Cemetery, which I want to read out to you. So, reportable by NPR. NPR has learned that two members of former President Trump's campaign had a verbal and physical altercation with an official at Arlington National Cemetery on Monday. A source with knowledge of the event said the cemetery official tried to prevent Trump staffers from filming and photographing in a section where recent U.S. casualties are buried. The source said Arlington officials had made clear that only a cemetery staff member could photograph in the area known as Section 60. When the cemetery official tried to prevent Trump campaign staff from entering Section 60, campaign staff verbally abused and pushed the official aside, the sources said. President Trump participated in a wreath-laying ceremony at the cemetery on Monday. The event marked the third anniversary of a deadly attack on U.S. troops in Afghanistan as U.S. forces withdrew. The Trump campaign has blamed President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris, now the Democratic presidential nominee, for the chaotic withdrawal. Now, the Trump campaign responded to NPR's inquiry with the following statement, quote, "There was no physical altercation as described, and we are prepared to release footage if such defamatory claims are made." The fact is that a private photographer was permitted on the premises, and for whatever reason, an unnamed individual clearly suffering from a mental health episode decided to physically block members from President Trump's team during a very sad ceremony. That said their communications director. Now, the Trump campaign declined to make that footage immediately available, even though they dangled that they do have that footage. And also, on one hand, you say there was no altercation, but then you say somebody had a mental episode. Maybe you had that episode, right? They always project. So, Arlington National Cemetery provided the following statement to NPR, quote, "Federal law prohibits political campaign or election-related activities within Army, National Military cemeteries to include photographers, content creators, or any other persons attending for purposes or in direct support of a partisan political candidate's campaign." Arlington National Cemetery reinforced and widely shared this law and its prohibitions with all participants. We can confirm there was an incident and a report was filed. So what you think about it? Thumbs up, physical altercations, shit show. Lisa Trump has no bottom. Okay, now I need to see, as usual, no consequences. Indeed. I worked for a cemetery. No employees were allowed to photograph anything. That's not rude. It's out of respect for the. Yeah, indeed. Yeah, I'm learning that. It's just amazing. If this indeed against federal law, as a veteran, I hope Arlington Cemetery officials will take actions. I hope so too, because how low can you go? It's like in one of those songs, right? Can you go that low? Like, how low are we going here? Are there any consequences? Any consequences? Disgusting. Absolutely. I've been to Arlington and I have more respect than that. Yeah, because you have respect. You're a respectful individual. That's why you show respect. If somebody's lacking that function, it's like asking your freezer to warm something up. The mental episode was showing up in the section that he didn't belong here. For the Army to make a statement to the press is huge. Exactly. Arlington. Yeah. So I wanted to cover that. Thank you for tagging me in this report. I would love to follow up with NPR if they get that video. I think it is important, especially since New York Times states that Trump may win on character. Okay. Certainly shows everything. Okay. Now, another story is what you probably have clicked on. It kind of went viral. You made it go viral. Please share it. It's not about me. It's about the purpose. So Trump shared a press release today And yes, it's about the voter fraud. He says Team Trump and RNC launch huge mail-in ballot tool in Pennsylvania. So a few factors here. SwampTheVoteUSA.com registered in Reykjavik, whatever, Iceland. That is a website where they say the first non-governmental website giving voters full access to Pennsylvania's election toolkit. It is connected to Pennsylvania Department of State, so voters never have to leave the site to request a mail-in ballot. That is how the website looks like. Swamp the Vote. And you see here, you can request a ballot, but you can also become eligible for a free yard sign. How interesting. Maybe you can even win a Big Mac if you file for 2 ballots. But I did it. I tried it out. So I went on this website. I typed my New York address. They said, congratulations. Here's your state website. Check your whatever. Get the ballot from New York State. Okay. Onest Network is from Florida. I typed in Florida thing. Again, state goes to the Florida state. Here, get your ballot. So I Googled some stuff and I type in California address. Here's your state. Da-da-da. And then I type in Pennsylvania because they say Pennsylvania. I go on Googler and I find a Walmart or whatever, like a store. I put an address from a store. I put a fake name. I type it in, fake birth date. They say, oh, great. Now, next slide. It doesn't lead me to Pennsylvania, right? The state thing. Because they said, oh, you don't have to go, right? As they mentioned here. It's connected to Pennsylvania Department of State, so voters don't have to leave. Okay. So random commercial address from Pennsylvania. It was Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Random name that doesn't exist. Random birth date. It leads me to another site. A window opens where I have to type in and before also phone number. Phone number was real because I wanted to see how they follow up with messages. And I gave them my private email address because I wanted to see the correspondence and still do. Next window opens. They're like, okay, great. Put again your birth date and put your ID. Now, certainly I don't have an ID in Pennsylvania. So I put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, whatever numbers they had. And it says, congratulations. Now tap in that you agree that whatever information you provided is truthful. And then you click on it and it says, your ballot is on the way. So I have a few questions. And then, by the way, they follow up with a message. It says, welcome, you agreed to terms to recurring messages, which I didn't, but whatever. And then they lead you with this info.com to Republican National Committee terms of use. So we will collect your data, we will share it with third party, that kind of stuff. So I have questions. If that is really connected to Pennsylvania board, right, or whatever they stated here, it's connected to Pennsylvania Department of State. How are you dealing with the fake name, corporate address, fake birth date, and especially fake ID? And where is that ballot hidden? Somebody's going to have a ballot at Walmart for a fake person. But that is disgusting. Trump didn't go last year. Okay, that's Arlington. I did PA like you. And Washington's for my state. Like I said on Twitter, this Elon's PAC website with a new name, even the same design. Indeed, but certainly RNC is now connected to it. So now you get legitimacy to it. So thank you for tagging this. I posted it on Twitter. Please repost it. Please tag State Department. Please tag, Department of Justice, whatever. Tag everybody. I hope it gets noticed because this is scary. My guesstimation is this, that if a person, let's say, filled this out and they're waiting for the ballot, they're not going to receive the ballot, and then it was going to be too late to order the actual ballot, so they're not voting. And then if they lose Pennsylvania, then they will take all this data from people who never received the ballot because they saved those email addresses and physical addresses and will claim that they have been, bamboozled and never got to vote. which people can, of course, can then confirm, but it was orchestrated by them. So some people said, well, maybe they're sending like fake ballots or whatever. Where? To Walmart? But if this is their voters, aren't they screwing themselves? I think they use it as this bamboozle thing. Why did you try any other swing states other than PA? I haven't. I can try afterwards. It says Pennsylvania, so I tried that. I tried Georgia. I tried Florida, not really considered a swing state, but it gets you to the state thing. But I'll try other states too. I'll try Carolina, Georgia, whatever, Wisconsin. So yeah, please share it because that is really creepy and really strange. But what is even more so strange and even crazier, we talk about Project 2025, and some people say enough of that, stop. It's very scary. It's not realistic. But Lincoln Project did a fantastic job, right? To put it in perspective, how our life would be under the Project 2025 regime. Take a look. I really love this commercial. It's powerful, it's very upsetting, but it's worth watching. Take a look.
Driver's license, registration.
Here you go, sir. How's your day going?
That's your daughter?
Sure is.
Abigail, right?
How do you know her?
Were you about 8 weeks pregnant? So you've been spotting recently. You've had any cramps or nausea?
That's personal.
You been taking your prenatal vitamins?
Excuse me?
Are you ticketing me for something?
Where are you heading, Abigail?
To go see my older sister, Natalie.
Well, that's strange. This says here that Natalie's at a concert in Dallas. And your navigation is set to a women's health clinic in one of those abortion states.
We have the right to travel.
Not anymore. Step out of the car.
Please, officer.
Both of you out now. You, sir, are under arrest for crossing state lines to obtain an abortion for a minor under your care. And you, young lady, well, you're under arrest for evading motherhood.
You're under arrest for evading motherhood. Wow. And Lisa, to your point, no, this is not utopic scenario. This is very real. We elect Trump, that's what we get. If you have a daughter, if you have a wife, if you are a woman, if you care about women, if you give a damn about women, how can you vote for this? How? It's disgusting. Yeah. It could be Handmaid's Tale. Yeah, I think they used it as inspiration. Hadn't seen the video. It's disgusting. Indeed. Jazzy Diva. Yeah, it's disgusting. Absolutely. And to your questions, if I was ever directed to PA elections, no, was never directed to them. Okay. Last creepy, but kind of is creepy. Former First Lady Trump, she's selling a book about her story, how she conquered Manhattan, I guess. And she's using us New Yorkers in Manhattan to advertise her book. How dare. She says, New York City captivated my heart the moment I arrived 28 years ago today. This electrifying town isn't just my home. It's a colorful canvas where dreams come alive. New York's iconic skyline, its vibrant culture inspire me every day. Somebody can search if Michelle Obama has ever stated it. But if you're a New Yorker, you'll feel my notion. Hell no. Heck no. Please. I read that it's early 90s. It scared the shit out of me then and now. Oh, you're talking about some other stuff. Okay. Didn't she get to America using modeling agency? Yes. And then she overstayed her visa and was illegal. And she's married to, presumably, Trump is legal citizen. she would be deported now by that Texas rule that I highlighted at the beginning today. So she would be the one deported now. Notable that she's leaning into being a New Yorker, which is very far away from Florida and Mar-a-Lago, indeed. Yeah, and Bedminster, New Jersey. You know, The Where Handmaid's Tale is a show. Yeah. Okay, you guys are discussing this. Okay, let's talk about Social Security. Very good news. Very good news. If you ever filed for your tax online, or if you ever filed for immigration papers, I certainly did, and I did for my parents. The time we could do so online was the time when we got, euphoric about this, because putting the papers in, sending the papers in, and stuff gets lost and all that kind of stuff. But another drag was Social Security. If you ever gotten Social Security number, if you're an immigrant, or if you ever had to do something with Social Security, it would, spend half of your life getting that damn paper. So Social Security Administration launches streamlined SSI online application for all states. Starting in December, the Social Security Administration will debut, right? Tell me, today is not the day to pronounce stuff for me. Anyway, they will launch a simplified online application for supplemental security income aimed at making the process easier for some applicants, known as iClaim, like iPhone, expansion. This initial phase will streamline applications with user-friendly questions, pre-populated answers, and step-by-step guidance, initially available to first-time applicants aged 18 to nearly 65 who are applying to both Social Security benefits and SSI. The goal is to extend the simplified process to all applicants by late 2025. This move is part of a broader effort to enhance accessibility and efficiency in SSI applications. So if this is somehow applicable to you, or some people please tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend. Big news, will certainly make people's lives better. So I thought to share. Mainstream media never talked about it. The book is better. We're talking about still. Okay. Twin Towers, we're still standing. Okay. You guys are discussing the, SSI is super important. Yes, indeed. And why not 65? Because rules change after 65. You certainly, Medicare, Medicaid. So certainly they're working on that, and they will launch it soon. Another really upsetting news about Delta, which is connected to Boeing. So tragic incident happened in Atlanta at the airport, specifically at Delta Tech Ops claims. They claim 2 lives. The incident at Delta Tech Ops claimed 2 lives and injures. Tragic incident at Delta Tech Ops claims 2 lives and injures another. Okay, here I got it. Third time the charm. On Tuesday morning, a tragic incident at Delta Tech Ops, the airline's technical operations and maintenance facility, resulted in the death of 2 employees and injuries to a third. The incident occurred around 5 a.m. at the Atlanta Technical Operations Maintenance Facility, also known as TOC3. The exact details surrounding the incident are currently under investigation, and no additional information about the deceased or injured individuals has been released. Now, Delta Airlines has expressed deep sorrow over the loss and injury of its team members. In a statement, the airline conveyed its heartbreak and extended full support of the affected families and colleagues during this difficult time. Now, reports from Fox 5 Atlanta suggested that the incident involved the explosion of a tire that had been removed from Boeing 757 airplane, which had arrived from Las Vegas on Sunday night. However, Delta has not yet confirmed these details. Atlanta Mayor Dickens also extended his condolences to those affected by the incident. Certainly, again, Boeing, again, now it's tires exploding. What happened to Boeing? Can somebody say it? Or you fear for your life? Because certainly, same as with Russia and open windows, something constantly happens. So, yeah. Also, the Boeing capsule, right? At the ISS, in International Space Station. The folks went there, astronauts, for 2 weeks. Now they're staying through January 2025 because Boeing capsule is, going to fly alone this week. it cannot transport anybody. So they're waiting for SpaceX shuttle. Very interesting. They left Washington State. Yeah, okay. I'm not following the comments. Okay, now let's talk about Middle East real quick. In short, no updates on Cairo talks. As much as I tried, as much as I tried to dig and all that kind of stuff, no updates. The talk started yesterday. Today, no updates. Maybe no news is good news. So let's stick with that. Now, on the Middle East, General C.Q. Brown, right, who is the chairman of Joint Chiefs of Staff, it's a new position, has been added through this administration. It's sort of uniting all the Pentagon, pretty much. He proceeded with his planned visit to Israel on Sunday, despite earlier exchanges of live fire between Israeli defense forces and Lebanese Hezbollah. The visit was part of a broader trip through the Middle East, which had already included meetings in Jordan and Egypt. Brown emphasized the importance of maintaining his schedule and staying in touch with the Israeli counterpart, given the unfolding tensions. Quote, I wanted to ensure we had options to still go to Israel, end quote. Brown said, noting that the exchange of fire occurred early in the morning and was closely monitored throughout the day. During his visit to Tel Aviv, Brown met with Israeli Defense Minister Gallant and Chief of General Staff Halevi. The discussions focused on reaffirming the U.S.-Israeli strategic partnership, addressing recent engagements, and emphasizing the need to de-escalate tensions to prevent broader conflict. The talks also covered Israel's defense capabilities, humanitarian assistance to Gaza, and the prevention of further escalation. So a bunch of more quotes. So this will be in tonight's email about his trip. But certainly it is important that we do have our party being in Israel to show support and to show that there's nothing to fear, or not seriously fear at the moment, since he's there in Tel Aviv, right? So certainly a good move, and I think an important update. Honestly, I've reading mixed things about the Middle East today. I've mostly ignored it. It's what I see. It's a lot of rumors, right? Like, oh, the Hamas leader is now cross-dressing as a woman. How dare you? How do we know? We don't really know. Does it matter? Also not. How are the talks proceeding? If they're still there and still talking, that's already good news. I think peace agreement prior to election is becoming increasingly unlikely. That's what I think too. That's what I think too. And connected to that Mar-a-Lago meeting with Netanyahu. I said what I said. Now let's talk about Ukraine. First of all, Zelensky held press briefing earlier today in Ukraine, where he answered questions from national press, international press. So he first, in one of the answers, he declared that Ukraine has successfully tested its first domestically produced ballistic missile, which was very different and very new. And then, if you're familiar with United 24, this is in sort of Zelensky's part, or got very connected to Ukrainian government social media site and digital, let's say, platform. They covered one of his answers, right, where the talk was, how do you plan to proceed? And so he started talking about 4 different aspects. So one thing is you have to tell Russia that no lands in Ukraine will be up for negotiation when we talk about peace and the end of the war. That's number 1, territorial. Second was about economy, right? Rebuilding what has been damaged, and also escaping this cold winter, since Russia tries to affect the electrical grid, and also the situation in Ukraine. So people will be freezing in darkness throughout this winter. That's the Russian goal. Then he talked about financial part, right? And then ultimately he talked about political. And so in that statement, he said that they already do have a plan, and they will be sharing it with the United States. Now, what did happen is that Ukraine 24, whatever the website, Ukraine United 24, they said that he is willing to share the plan with the US because it's important, and with Harris and Trump, because we don't know who's going to be a president. Well, everybody, including me, started saying, what the hell? We have President Biden. Why don't you share it with him? Why, and first of all, why would you even share it with Trump? Just share it with Putin right away. Let's not forget how Trump extorted or tried to extort Zelensky to get some dirt on Biden during the election and putting that aid for Ukraine on the line. So I don't know why, maybe they want to be showing that they're not interfering in our election. So they're treating both candidates same. But then, and then I have also another aspect, which I will share after this video. So I do have the exact response from Zelensky. It is not literally how that United 24 website presented, that caused quite a turmoil and chaos and sort of like very negative comments within the US, because he's sort of dismissing Biden. So that's the real answer.
But I'm not going to give you too much details on that. The plan is prepared, and I think it would be fair for me to present this plan to the President of the United States, because a lot depends on him in terms of the success, whether we'll be provided with what we need for this plan, whether we'll be allowed to use what will be provided under this plan or not. And since there are always delays in life, I think I will be able to present this plan in September to the President of the United States, and I think it would be correct to provide this plan to Kamala Harris and to Donald Trump, because we don't know who will be elected as the U.S. president, and we really want to implement this plan.
Certainly different color, right? A different angle to this answer. And that's why I encourage you to always watch the video, read the exact quote, so we don't base our opinion upon somebody's angle, as they say. So very different. Again, I have two questions. Why Trump? Why do you even mention him? Why do you even mention him? Certainly you say, well, we're going to talk to Biden. We understand the United States is facing an election, and we will continue talking to the President of the United States, whoever that may be, starting January 20th. Or upon the election, we certainly would love to share our plan with the elected president during that transition period. Why now? This guy is leaking everything. You don't know he's going to be a president. What you do know, he's going to sell you behind for $1. So now another question that I have, when you raise things like, oh, we're going to show it to Biden, but then there's an election, so let's share it with the future people, because why would we talk to the past people? Because if we share all with Biden and he approves, but then everything is delayed, you can't stop a war in a month or so. So maybe it will be signed then in January, February, March, which will be a different president. So now having Biden's signature would not be applicable because he's no longer will be president, right? If you think weirdly. Now Zelensky gets himself, right, and I'm going to talk to you as a diplomat, former. Now he got himself in hot water. Why? Because of the war and state of emergency and state of war in Ukraine. The election in Ukraine has been postponed. So he's overstaying his welcome as a president. Once the war is over, there's going to be an election. If it's Zelensky, fun. If it's somebody else, fun. So if you start digging into, oh, we're going to talk to the president who will be signing or whatever, then the other question would be, which would come probably from Magaville if he wins, why are we even talking to Zelensky? What will be his signature worth if he's not legitimate president right now? He's overstaying his welcome. So less. Say less. Less is more. So, that's my opinion here. Ukrainian lands are Ukrainian. Stop. End of discussion. Indeed. All hands are in play. Yeah. Cover your own ass in the U.S. military school. Yeah. Okay. So that is on Ukraine. Also, he said that Kursk, right, the incursion into Russia, is very much the plan of their peace plan, because the more you take away from Russia, the more negotiation power you're going to have. Now, today, videos leaked that I'm not going to show you because they're violent, where Ukrainians found Russian soldiers who did not want to go to Ukraine, who did not want to proceed and pretty much be killed. So they chained them to trees, beat them up, they're bloody, and chained them literally to trees like animals. Um, like you should not be treating any animal. And so they found them, they gave them water, they're like, happy about it. Very, very sad and disgusting and despicable. But that is what happens in Russia. Also, the news will be, if you recall, a few months ago, Putin was welcoming the leader of Indonesia. And now in Indonesia, they are, through Armenia, they are recruiting people to go fight in the war. So that is sort of what's happening. They're running out of people, they're running out of money, they're running out of resources, they're running out of connections. But all they use now is North Korean missiles, drones to hit Ukraine. And then North Korea congratulates Ukraine on its Independence Day 2 days ago. Like, what's that about? So AFU, so Armed Forces of Ukraine, have taken control of 1,294 square kilometers and 100 settlements in Kursk region. So just imagine, all the defense systems in Russia are used to protect Putin's Moscow, Kremlin, his castles, wherever bunkers, wherever he is, and St. Petersburg. Everything is moved away. So somebody gets conquered, somebody gets bombed, somebody gets hit. It's your luck, So how else would Ukraine be able to not just invade, right, or free, as they say, but occupy 100 settlements with people in it? Also, what Zelensky said, we continue to move forward in the Kursk direction, inflicting significant losses and manpower and equipment on Russian troops. A total of 594 Russian servicemen were taken prisoner in the Kursk region. And certainly now the talk would be to exchange them for Ukrainian prisoners. So now in Russia, Russians were going to, and this is now more applicable to NATO. So let's talk now from the Russian perspective, because it has been said that Ukraine is not allowed to hit Russians because there's this red lines imposed by Putin. What is talked about is this. I have a photo for you. Yes. So this is from the Institute of War. And the blue part is Ukraine, right? The gray part is the Russian occupied territory. And then the red is maximum range of Ukrainian ATACMS, 300 kilometers. And the yellow is the Russian territory in range of HIMARS. So what Ukraine is allowed to hit is the yellow. Now, and that's what I'm trying to explain every time I'm talking about Ukraine. What Ukraine is requesting is to hit the red, because the red is where are the military targets, right? The legitimate military targets, spot from where they launch missiles and drones to Ukraine. So what Ukraine is asking is to hit the red part, not to hit Moscow, not to hit St. Petersburg, not to hit Putin's castle, but to hit the military targets from where the missiles are launched onto Ukraine. So that is the discussion. But the administration here says this is a red line. I also read between the lines when they say Kirby. Yesterday, I was reading out his statement from the National Security Council, Gaggle, where he said, well, we talk to Ukrainians privately, and we want to discuss that privately. We keep talking to Ukrainians privately. So privately, somehow oil deposits, like all these targets in Russia are blasting, right? When it comes to their oil, when it comes to gas, they are being hit every night. If you follow those reports, very deep inside Russia. Is that Ukrainian drone? I don't know. If that's American missile, who knows? But they say we're going to talk privately. And I think that is what this war requires. shut up. You share something, media always wants the truth and whatever, but you want not just the truth, you want the clickbait. And that's why you keep digging and digging and digging. Tell us why red zones, why red lines, tell us. It's a war. Why don't we understand, as media, as any normal individual with common sense, that in the war you need to be silent about your game plan and plans? So they're talking privately, good. But there's always like, why are we not allowing Ukraine? Why are we not allowing Ukraine? But then in the midst of Russia, stuff blows up every night. So, now about red lines. Russians were going to commit sabotage using drones at NATO's Gelsenkirchen, that's in Germany, airbase, said by the Deutsche Presseagentur, citing German intelligence. So there are 14 Boeing E-3A airborne warning and control systems aircraft based at the Gelsenkirchen airfield, equipped with long-range radars and sensors capable of detecting air and surface targets at long distances. Such aircraft flies at an altitude of 9,150 meters and covers a surveillance area of more than 300,000 square kilometers. So earlier this year, the Russian armed forces lost two similar Russian-made A-50 aircrafts. And so they are planning to hit this airfield in Germany, NATO airfield. So how is that not a red line? What do you need to do to cross a red line? A day ago, Russian drone fell in Poland, and Poland is certainly NATO territory. So when we are, at least publicly, talking about respecting the red lines, respecting Russia, not provoking it, they're trying to provoke daily. Now, is it good to respond? It's nuclear powers. So that remains to be discussed. Now, is it good to neglect? No. And I'm sure US doesn't do it, nor does NATO. But it does not have to be announced. I'm a media person. I want to inform you, right? I want to share something that you don't know. But I also know to know my place. It's a freaking war. Diplomacy likes silence. War likes silence and actions. So allow Ukraine to win. If you support Ukraine, stop bashing Biden, stop bashing NATO, stop talking and being that armchair warrior that you are. If you post about that. That's just my 2 cents. Have the strikes on Ukraine recently been on any incursion forces or just civilian strikes? Civilian strikes and electricity. So, for instance, they hit the dam in Kiev, trying to blow it up so Kiev would be flooded. They're hitting anything that has to do with electricity, pretty much. NATO attack would have consequences. Yeah, exactly. A Cold War. We are in it. Yeah, 32 members of NATO. We are but one. Yeah. Okay. So I want to show you a video about Russians. I mentioned that they're recruiting from they're recruiting international civilians to go fight for them. And so there's pretty good interview translated into English explaining how do they do that. Take a look.
Russia really lacks its own resource, at least the resource that is ready to go to kill for money. That is the main resource of recruitment today in Russia. Despite the increase in the amount of money, the number of people willing to sign these contracts is decreasing because for the most people it is a one-way ticket. The second point here is related to the fact that this recruitment of citizens of other countries it actually turns out to be more profitable for two reasons: purely financial and economic, because we are talking about some money that they are paid here and now. but actually not paid to their families in the case of their deaths, for example. So this is such a affordable story for the Russian authorities. They recruited them, paid them something, killed them, and then kind of the end of it. And the second point is a kind of internalization of the conflict and Russia's attempt to show that this is a global confrontation, which is not only reduced to the Russian-Ukrainian war, but in general there's a war of Russia and anti-colonial, anti-imperialistic power against the whole world, which in my opinion is absolutely ridiculous. And the presence of representatives of the so-called global south or countries that are differently not partners or allies of Ukraine is an occasion for Russia to remind once again that they are not alone, but the whole world with them.
Yeah, so pretty much, right? You've heard that. They dangle money for Russian citizens, but it's a one-way ticket. You're going to get killed. That's it. Because probability is very high. And they're really using humans as a meat, pretty much. I won't, but I can show you pictures how they transport dead people. If you're interested, let me know. I'll post about it, but you can't sleep if I even say it. So lastly, I don't know if you ever went to Burning Man. Burning Man is currently happening. I've never been, nor I kind of desire, but I respect and admire those who do. And so there's an Ukrainian artist that I want to talk to you about. The installation is called "I'm Fine." And so it refers to Ukrainians' resilient statement. Like, how are you? I'm fine. And so this is how it looks like. I present some pictures as I describe it. Every Ukrainian may say I'm fine when they're actually not. But this year, Ukraine brought a poignant twist to Burning Man with the towering "I'm Fine" sculpture. You see here what it's based from. It's based from, you see it here, any road signs or signs of the villages or settlements that have been won back, right, that are occupied by Russia, and then Ukraine could able to fight for them and get them back. Ukrainian artist Alexei Sai and his team crafted this striking piece from war-torn street signs, fences, and gates collected from across Ukraine. Unveiled by Ukrainian Witness, it stands as Ukraine's official sculpture for Burning Man 2024. And here's the sculpture. Offering a sarcastic yet powerful symbol of the country's resilience. Behind the facade of "I'm fine" lies a narrative of survival, strength, and true fortitude given the relentless adversity. So it's really interesting. I'm happy that Ukraine could present something, but also do it mindfully. Burning Man means you could find heaven, be it sober or on good mood. Our nephew worked with other kids every year at Burning Man. Now it has gone Hollywood, playpen of billionaire technocrats, but the work is fantastic. Yeah, this is great. And it's like with anything. And this is really the situation, right? Why are we effing up the space travel? Why do we have problems with groceries? Why do we have problems with gas? Because not you, but we let commercial companies direct that. And then we allowed to create monopoly, right? Monopoly when it comes to space travel, monopoly when it comes to groceries, monopoly when it comes to several industries. And so then you end up with individuals who have a net worth of several countries in Europe. And then they decide what politics are, right? They select people, they pay for campaigns. Now they manipulate how we even cast votes, right? Creating this stupid manipulative websites, completely confusing people, endorsing candidates. So I think there should be a limit on net worth. I wholeheartedly would support that, even though I understand America's land of opportunity or whatever. But I think once you hit a certain net worth, part has to be donated. And you don't decide where, like wherever it's needed in the country right now. I don't know, but there should be a limitation, because otherwise we are where we are and it's just going to get worse. It's a reference to "I'm fine" meme. Not sure. Actually, never mind. I'm thinking of "This is fine" meme. Oh, yeah. No. That's what they have created. So tomorrow is a busy day. So tomorrow, VP Harris and Walz are in Georgia. He has another appearance before that. Also, Trump was traveling and speaking. So for what it's worth, if there's anything new, I'll cover it. Second gentleman is traveling. So bunch of news to come out tomorrow. Hopefully, maybe positive news from the Middle East. I will make sure to keep you updated. So follow up with emails, read the data and the actual news. And thank you so much for your compliments. If you say like, "Oh, I love this newsletter. I like the facts," and I appreciate it. It takes me half a night to do it, but I really, really appreciate it. And if you're not signed up yet, lastly, go ahead. It's onest.substack.com. Select a version if you support. I really, really appreciate you. Thank you so much. You make that all of that fun and really worthwhile. And I will share now. Once we're off, I'm going to share the RSVP for a link where you put your email to watch the interview on Thursday together. Again, it's going to be at 9 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to stream it from CNN, and so we'll watch it together. If it's short, we put cameras on or mics on, and we discuss what we think about it. We can take a look at CNN's fact check that I guesstimate is going to be there. So tune in, spend some good time with like-minded fellas, with real people, and not bots or anything like that. And if you don't want to give your view, or you be counted as a view for CNN, that's a good option. So I'm done. Thank you so much for joining me. Looking forward to Thursday. Thank you, Lisa. Yes, me too. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Keith. Thank you. Appreciate you. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you. So now go clean my kitchen mess I made earlier. Okay, go ahead. We all have to do it. Thank you. I appreciate you. Appreciate you too. Karma Cal. Thank you so much. Thank you to you. Appreciate you. Okay. All right. Concerned. Thank you, Concerned. Thank you. Elon is a douche. Yes. Okay. All right. It's a thank you party now. Have a good night. See you tomorrow.